Hello, I am joined with Nottingham singer-songwriter Lucy Crisp. So, Lucy, if you just want to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about what you do.
I am from Nottingham. I have been writing music about my life with cystic fibrosis for the past couple of years, and it's been pretty insane.
Of course, so you studied at Confetti in Nottingham, and I know you've overcome a number of challenges kind of in pursuit of this career, which you've done incredibly so far. But we will get into that. But if you could just take me way back to the very start of, your career, take me way back to, young Lucy and how this kind of passion came to life.
This passion pretty much started when I was quite little. I was having to go to hospital every 6 to 8 weeks. And normally, when we would be going up to hospital, my mum and dad would be playing the likes of Mika, Adele, Amy Winehouse, and they are all still artists that inspire me today. And, writing songs that I love and being able to express my feelings in songs. And I think it's a really important thing when you write songs about like your own personal life of how much detail you're going into it as well.
I know you touched upon having cystic fibrosis. So I think it's important that we recognize that and just how that has impacted your career.
And with myself having cystic fibrosis, there's always been times where I have either been in situations where my lung function hasn't been as great, and it's meant that I've had to spend quite a bit of time in hospital. And then there's always been moments where I'm performing to a crowd and everyone's got their like iPhone lights up during very emotional songs such as I Miss You, which I wrote about losing someone to cystic fibrosis. So I think it's a really good feeling when you have songs like that and you get that audience just joining in with you. And I guess everyone feeling like they're in a comfortably vulnerable community.
Absolutely. And I think you definitely achieved that. And I get songs like I Miss You, they've all got a message behind them. And I know that, a lot of your music's quite emotional. And I think you really let people in. So what kind of made you make that decision? Because it's quite brave to do that.
I think for anybody to talk about what they have gone through within their lives is quite nerve-wracking because you never know what the response is going to be. But at the same time, when you have people listen to those songs and really relate to them in some way or another, it's just a really good feeling, and you feel like you are being a role model to somebody else that may also have cystic fibrosis.
But I think that's what's so powerful. I think in a way, cystic fibrosis has become your power tool that you use because you really like evoke emotion. Again, it's raw. You really do tell like a raw story. So how do you find writing them? Is it quite cathartic? How do you find writing stories that are so personal?
I seem to write about the certain things that, other people may go through as well. So I've been writing some songs recently, and it's quite exciting because this is like in the middle of the second EP. And I think it's really nice that I've got a variety of songs again, but on a more personal level. So being ghosted by someone, someone being like a parachute to you in times where you're not at your best, and some other songs as well where you just don't feel you belong anywhere in life, and I think you just have that anxiety.
And what's it like performing, these songs? Because like I say, I know I keep talking about how personal your songs are, but I just think it's so like admirable. When, you're performing those songs, how does it feel? Imagine I want to imagine I'm you on stage. What is that like?
I think when I'm in the Hannah Montana mode, as I like to call it, I'm normally just absolutely buzzing to just be performing my songs, and I just feel like I'm in my element. I'm telling a story to an audience who may be fans of my music or not fans of my music, and it's grabbing their attention on topics that are important to people.
And what have been some of your career highlights so far? Because I know you've been part of BBC Introducing, so you've done stuff with Dean Jackson. What are the things that you're so proud of?
Um, I had I did the BBC introducing gig at Metronome a couple of months ago now, and just being able to perform my songs in front of that audience, that felt like a really big milestone for me. BBC introducing has really supported me as an artist and other artists within Nottingham as well.
I know you said there about how you really enjoyed BBC Introducing because they felt like you supported you as a local artist. What do you think are some of the challenges that local artists face?
There's a lot of barriers that I think local independent artists face in particular, such as trying to get their name out there, trying to find the contacts, being able to pretty much get their foot in the door and be able to succeed with their music.
Anyone listening who is an artist or, is sat at home and wants to go into this, but again, are from a working class background, don't have the contacts, what advice would you give them? Because, you've done such brilliant things already.
I would say definitely start off going to open mics, just meet people, because you never know who that person also knows. And I would also say keep believing in your dream. I know it's really tough out there.
Just I think it's just so incredible, having cystic fibrosis and doing all the amazing things you've done. You mentioned earlier that, every day is different. How kind of daunting can that be? Say you've got a gig tomorrow. How can that feel, not knowing how you're going to be tomorrow?
I think it's potentially scary, but also at the same time, I always try and make sure I'm healthy enough to be doing what I'm doing and making sure that I do my routines, making sure I take my medication, and just kind of be wary of if I'm feeling a little bit unwell, taking some care and rest for myself and just caring for myself as well. Because I think as musicians, it's really easy to exhaust yourself out and have that burnout. No, like I say, no day is going to be the same having cystic fibrosis, but if I can leave a legacy in this world and that's through my music, then I think I've achieved something there already.
That is, yeah, that's wonderful. That's a really, really, really nice message there again that completely goes with your songs too. Just again talking about like your gigs and things. I know I read online that you sometimes found it difficult to navigate the music world as a woman, but particularly because of the cystic fibrosis too. So, tell me about that and your experience of being a woman in this industry.
It's You sometimes feel that having a disability and also being a woman, you're more of that, you're like a little percentage in the industry that's not well known. And I think for other people who are disabled as well, I kind of want to be that person that says, look, I'm disabled and I'm literally doing all this. And I just want to be an inspiration for, you know, little me who didn't have an inspiration like myself when they was growing up.
What would young little Lucy think of you now?
I think little Lucy would be really amazed on the journey that I've been on, and she would be really proud of me, especially when she's faced some really hard times as well. Um, but I think she'd be really proud that I've pushed through it and I've been able to do what I've dreamed to do.
And I'm sure you're going to go on to do many more. And let's hope that your goal of Glastonbury is achieved because that'd be incredible. And I'll be at the front. Well, thank you so much, Lucy. It's really, really, really great to speak to you. Is there anything you'd like to add?
If you would like to follow my socials, it's at Lucy Crisp on Instagram, and it is at Lucy Crisp _ on TikTok.